everyone in the middle is having a good time too.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one from our new album. It's called Still at Large.
Our drummer Matt injured his thumb, fractured his thumb just before a tour, and so we had to postpone that, and then we had to re-postpone it, so it was like booking a tour 3 times to go on tour once. Cool, but this shit happens. And then we started the album, and then the guitarist Isaac injured his hand, so he missed a few of those gigs of that tour, and it prolonged the recording a little bit. But it all worked out in the end, and now the opportunity to go.
Let's talk about that. You just released the first single off the album, which is called Still at Large, called Exterminate, and the full album is coming out on the 15th of December. So let's talk about the recording and all that stuff, and where you did it, songwriting perhaps, who was behind that, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, the songwriting was mostly Isaac. He did all the music for it, and I did all the lyrics. And yeah, the songs came together pretty quick. We've had them for over a year, except maybe one of them. And yeah, we recorded at the Stomach again in Palmerston North. I recorded it, and then DJ Fields from Depths and No Life, he mixed it. We heard another local band, Dead Set, just released an album, and we heard the mix of that. We're like, yeah, we want that guy. We tried to work with Nigel again, who did the first album, but he's so busy now. He's booked like months in advance. So luckily DJ was able to do it, and Nigel mastered it. And it was a bit of fucking hell of a recording session, actually. And when I was meant to do the vocals, I got sick. So everything was just, man, it was stressful, and it was up to the night before mastering. We were still making changes, then mastered it, heard the mixes a few days later. It's fucking wrong. We had to remix it and remaster it within a few days before pressing. It was just right up to the last minute. Fucking stress. It's hard out, but it doesn't matter anymore because the album came out fucking awesome, and that's all that matters in the end. We'll listen to that and be happy with it.
Tonight I have Matt Wright of Imperial Slave. Hey bro, how we doing?
What's up, man? Bit sore, been better, but I'll survive. How are you?
I am fantastic, thank you, man. So just to get us started, tell us a little bit about the history of Imperial Slave, how you joined the band or how you formed the band, or tell us a little bit about that.
Alright, so I was the last person to join the band. Sam's the mastermind behind everything, so he'd just gotten back from Germany and wanted to continue the music thing. Synate wasn't going to work out, so he's thinking, damn, I guess I better find some other people. So he wrote pretty much the whole first album, and then tried to find musicians who would click together, and musicians who were, up to his level. So we'd run into Sam quite often, and I knew he was looking for a drummer. Hit me up one day and just asked if I wanted to audition. So I was like, oh yeah, why not? I'll give it a go. Need to learn would be cool to learn some new songs anyway. So I learned the song Imperial Slaves, jumped into that, and it was. Anyway, I got the okay from him, and they were all good dudes. So I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Sure, fuck it. Why
Learn
not?
the rest of the album, and had a couple of months to, I think, learn all the songs and then get them ready for live. So it was pretty flat out at first, but we got there.
Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like touring through Europe? Because that's just not something that a lot of Kiwi bands especially metal, but just in general, it's not something that a lot of us would get to experience. So allow us to live us vicariously through you.
Oh yeah, we were super stoked and super surprised to get that gig. You know, only being a band together for like a year at that point, it was like, you know, we got the message. I was at work and it told my boss, and everybody was, you know, super happy. They're like, you're gonna have to take a lot of leave. And I said, if you don't give me the leave, I'm gonna leave. And so yeah, my work was really good to me at the time. And then yeah, the tour it's just a whirlwind day. You know, you get to one place and we got the van, we were driving ourselves, so it wasn't like the most restful kind of tour. We didn't get too much sleep because it was, you know, we have to get up and drive first thing in the morning to the next place. But man, just touring with like professionals like Eugene, you know, and the rest of the Flesh God guys, Omni and Gatherum, they were all such cool people, and we just got to, like, you know, just absorb everything they're kind of doing, absorb the lifestyle, and it just kind of cemented it further. It's like, yeah, we gotta do this more.
What was it like?
Yeah, shows.
Sorry,
Yeah, but the shows were just so good too. Like, the people turn up early because we were the first band every night, and there were plenty of people there supporting us, you know, coming to chat after the show and everything. So it was quite a, you know, different experience actually having like big groups of people. Well, bigger than here anyway, because obviously Europe can support it. But man, yeah, just want to do it all the time, man.
What was it like getting to see Eugene play, you know, every night for 12 nights? What was that like?
Oh man, it's incredible just to see him play like at those speeds and with that stamina. And like, personally, he's the most nice guy you'll ever meet. Like, he's just constantly being like a sweetheart to everybody. He's inviting fans and doing lessons and everything. So it's like, he's one of the most professional people I've ever met. Like, have you seen his Instagram? He's always out like doing workouts before shows and things. It's like, man, this guy is motivated, and it shows the level that you have to be at to get to his level. It's like, yeah, very inspirational.
What was the writing process for the second album, or Still at Large?
That was mostly entirely Isaac this time. So it was
Wow.
yeah, not too much of my input. He kind of wrote everything, you know, on the computer, and just kind of like played around with a lot of the drum fills, but for a lot of it, it's kind of just kept to, you know, what he'd written, because we're kind of quite rushed for our recording process too, and I had to upskill so much just to get the speed that I couldn't really focus on doing the speed and changing everything as well. So it's like, let's just get this done. The drums already sound good anyway, and so we're looking at focusing on the next album now with everybody writing together. So it's going to be very different again. Like, at the end of gigs from the first album, I'd be sweaty, my legs would be shaking. It was like just like brute forcing all the notes, and now it's like, you know, I've learned the techniques properly and they just flow out of me now, so I can almost not die at the end of a show, but still drenched in sweat, but
Sure.
the legs aren't as shaky, so yeah.
That's
We're getting somewhere.
well, speaking of Still at Large, so that was released on December the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, cool. You
Yep.
guys had your release show, but you guys, Imperial Slave, have got a album release tour coming up in March. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, well, we're kicking it off at the Napier Death Metal Festival. Always a sick show though. Hitting up just all the regulars, you know, Christchurch, Auckland, Wellington. We're also making our way down to Invercargill for the first time. Going to do Dunedin as well, New Plymouth, Palmy, of course, hometown. I think that's all we've got lined up for the moment, but should be another, good trip around the country.
This is your definitely your second, or is it your third tour?
This will be our third, I believe. Best show for me would be our show that we played in Nijmegen on the Flesh God tour. It was like, we had the stage manager there, we had our own dressing room, filled stocked with beers and fruits and chocolates and chips and everything. But it was the best stage we've played on by far. We had the sound guy on the stage just next to us, and it was like just the biggest crowd we'd played to. I think the same stage that like Slayer and a bunch of other bands have played on. Just an awesome light show, and the sound was amazing. The crowd was amazing. So I don't think I'll have an experience like that for quite a while at least. We were playing in Whanganui, and the smoke machine set off a fire alarm. So the fire alarms start blaring. The owners come in and are like, "Oh no, it's okay. It was just your smoke machine. You guys can keep playing." So we keep playing over the alarm, and eventually the firemen come in and start telling us off because we kept playing, and the entire gig ended up getting shut down about halfway through our set, and we ended up just going home. So it's a pretty sad end to the night. But
the recent material's been written by other members in the band. Have you found that the sound of the band sort of evolved or changed, or have you kept a lid on that? Or
Well, it's definitely changed, and that was the plan. I don't want to make an album that sounds like the one before it, and hopefully the next one will be that much different as well. And luckily you've still got all those same members. I mean, I did the drums on the first album, so it's the first album with Matt, but he's been with us since before the first album came out. And so that makes it sound a lot different as well, having a different drummer, because he's a lot faster than I could do, and a lot more extreme. So the album's more extreme. And even before we did the first album, the idea was do a kind of thrashy death metal album, and then the next album just solid death metal. So we had that idea before writing this one with that in mind.
I listened to the song Exterminate. I've listened to it a few days ago. I listened to it again carefully today. It's got a sort of a thrash vibe at the beginning with some double kicks over sort of a thrash riff. Then it goes into the more of a sort of a melodic, almost like a black metal, and the sort of that particular track seems to span a lot of genres with a death metal, bit of black metal, bit of thrash in there. So it's a good all-rounder, I guess. Is that reflective of the whole album?
No, we kind of had a black metal. There was kind of one black metal song on the first album as well, Dark Crimes, and so I kind of had that idea with this one as well. Asked Isaac to put a black metal part in something, and that's good spotting. Yeah, that's Exterminate. But there's not really, I wouldn't say there's any other black metal-y type bits in the rest of the album. It's mostly death metal, a bit of slammy stuff.
The slammy's pretty popular these days, the old slammy stuff.
Yeah, it came out pretty good, I reckon.
Even though you don't play drums for Imperial Slave, I know that you basically wrote the entirety of the first album by yourself.
Yeah, I did play drums on that album as well.
Sure, exactly. Can you tell us what the writing process for Imperial Slave is like now?
Well, now we're working on the third album, so it's different again. Well,
Sure.
The second album was Isaac did all the demos, guitar and drums,
Yep.
programmed drums. And then, so he's written all the riffs for that album. And then Matt did his drumming to it. And I wrote the vocals or the lyrics. And then, but this album is more, I mean, the third album that we're working on now is kind of all of us. So Achilles has probably done the most so far. And Ants has a couple of songs good to go. I've got one. And so the next album will be a lot more of a full band effort, more than like the first album was me and the second album was mostly Isaac. So now it's more of a group effort. So we're pretty excited about this next one.
Fuck yeah. Well, in the process of writing this next one, you guys have obviously got a really massive international tour coming up. Do you want to plug that for a minute?
Yeah, well, first we're playing with Suffocation in Christchurch, and I'm super fucking stoked about that because I love that band. But the tour in Japan with Nile is happening in October. So it's 3 dates. It's like 2 days in Tokyo, or 2 nights in Tokyo, and then one in Osaka with Nile. And then we're going to try and do a couple of our own shows in Nagoya and Yokohama, hopefully. But those aren't booked yet. I'm still kind of working on that. But yeah, I'm super fucking stoked to go to Japan. I've always wanted to go there, always wanted to play there. And I didn't really care who we went with. I just wanted to play in Japan, but to go with Niall is just fucking crazy. So we knew for about, I think it was 3 weeks or a month before we were allowed to tell anyone. So that was fucking hard because I think we were playing shows. Yeah, we were doing gigs and we weren't allowed to tell anyone about it. So that was rough. But yeah, it was still super excited. I can't fucking wait to get on that plane.
Fuck yeah, I bet.
And just to see Niall 3 times, like, that'll be fucking cool as well.
Oh, God, having fucking front row seats for that, best seats in the house, side of stage, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. It was cool for Achilles because he's like the biggest Niall fan in the band. And when I found out we've got it, he was out hiking somewhere and I couldn't get hold of him.
Oh, true.
So, because I wanted to get everyone together online so I could tell everyone all at once, but he was out in the Wops, I'm not even sure where, some national park. But I ended up sending him text, so when he does get signal, he get it. But he said he was like hiking and he got to the top of a mountain and he was actually listening to Niall at the time, and then got signal and got that message, and he was just like, yeah.
Oh, that's
so that
fucking
was cool.
awesome.
I was stoked for him.
Fuck yeah. Awesome. And any shout outs that you'd like to make?
Just to everyone who comes out to the gigs, like there's always lots of other gigs on for this tour anyway. There's always been heaps of other gigs, so the numbers haven't been as usual, but everyone who's coming to the gig seems to really enjoy it, and they're all buying merch and shit, and that's really helping us out. Like, that's saving our ass, actually. Just so just to everyone who listens to the music and fucking all the other bands we've played with and are playing with. So just everyone who's supporting the scene, basically, because there's heaps of fucking good bands in New Zealand.
the media company's dependence and ties with government is evidence of an extremely effective propaganda system.